What is going on YouTube? Hitterbeck making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. We're also going to be looking at the S&P 500 if we have time. Specifically in today's episode, honestly, I think the only thing there is to talk about is obviously the elections and how exactly these elections are going to potentially affect the market. Is it going to be, pretty much stirring up news and hype for a bullish correction to the upside, or are we going to see a reversal and a correction to the downside as COVID potential second wave spreads? Are we going to see that influence the market negatively and cause a reversal, or are we going to see the markets primed for potential big movements in volume? And as things start to prime itself up within the government, maybe money is going to trickle down into cryptocurrency, setting Bitcoin up for basically a digital world. So definitely, if you guys are interested, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up as this does help support the YouTube algorithm. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, CryptoVOfficial. This way, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can DM me over there. Otherwise, let's jump right into today's episode. Alright guys, so I'm here on my channel. I made a video yesterday basically saying how XRP, basically what the heck is going on within cryptocurrency, what the heck is happening within XRP specifically. You can see I have this pulled up right here, and I was very confused as to what exactly is going on, and hopefully I could share some relation to what you guys are looking at and dealing with. So moving on from that, as we've discussed, that there are very interesting key supports and resistances that XRP needs to hold in order for the prices to move up higher, and vice versa. As for the market to dump and correct lower, we needed to see some sort of break either above or below that support line. But I did find an article on Bitcoin.com which does talk about the very interesting thing that Bitcoin volatility could be expected to rise after the US presidential election, which is definitely something of interest and potentially something that could really affect the market as a whole, not only just the US economy, but cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically. We've seen this back, a couple months ago when COVID first hit the market. We saw Bitcoin's price drop substantially lower than where it's been in a very long time. And we also saw it affect the current coin market cap and the S&P 500 as they both pretty much dipped in price. Moving back, you can see on the S&P 500 the massive correction we had back in March, mid-March and February, and the same exact pattern actually formed on Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. The same drop in February and March right here, that same massive correction to the downside. So basically the article discussed that while the US prepares for the results in 2020's presidential election, a number of data points and traders expect some significant cryptocurrency price fluctuations this week. Statistics from skew.com show Bitcoin's 30-day implied volatility increased 60%, while 3 to 6 months jumped over 62%. But basically what I really want to talk about is, besides, as we know, the election, it says people during election day, option traders, are basically pricing a little bit of extra premium for this week, with a 3.5 Bitcoin implied move from the election, and weekly puts are pretty much more attractive and active today. So moving down, it's basically something that I really want to talk about. This is the quote that they did put up, and I think it is very important. One thing is probable: volatility is coming, as we know. On the bullish side for Bitcoin, central banks will continue to flood the world with money and stimulus packages, further setting the stage for Bitcoin. Vice versa, on the bearish side, a contested election and second wave of COVID-19 lockdowns will obviously spell disasters for markets, dragging down Bitcoin with it. So really hit or miss right now. We know that election was bumpy for since 4 years ago, and there's little reason to believe that we'll go through this election with large movements. Explain Nano analysts right here. After closing hours on election day, the S&P 500 futures dropped substantially before erasing all losses when Trump was announced as the winner. The market reacted positively, the Republican winner, and we ended up 5% that week. But it's such a small movement and such a small correction, it's hard to believe that that's actually going to trigger, any sort of big movements. So moving on to the current coin market cap, you guys can see for the most part, we're pretty much still down. Most of these cryptocurrencies are down. Bitcoin is the only one that's actually regaining support as we start to head up higher. What's interesting and what I want to talk about mainly in today's video is obviously the correlation between XRP and Bitcoin's price. As you guys know, for the most part, that XRP has pretty much just been trading at a very slow standstill as we started to hit some sort of support level. We do know that there was a massive symmetrical triangle that formed on this cryptocurrency, and we actually finally decided to break outside of it, which was interesting because that pretty much, based on the technical analysis, triggered what could be a correction to the downside, which did happen. Bear in mind, we did see that correction. We did see a small pump, and you can see it pretty much dropped the coin from, let's see, a price range of right here at 24 cents all the way down here. It dropped us almost 7%, 6.5% to be exact. And this correction we did capitalize on, and we did make a little bit of change for us. So there was definitely a dip in price in that. Now moving forward, we do see that there was a support that it seems to be retesting currently as we speak. And this is where things get very interesting. As you guys know, XRP has pretty much been trading pretty much on this uptrend that has been on the coin for a very long time, since about July 14th. And what's interesting to see is I have slowly skewed the uptrend as you guys have been sending me different charts. Originally I had it like this where we saw the beautiful break to the downside, and then you guys were saying you have to include that bottom support, so I just adjusted it just like this, and you can see now it is fairly accurate. So I would like to see how this coin would continue to play out in the very near short term. Just a small tweak like this, you can see a very few things. Yesterday's candle was discussed that if we closed below this bottom support right here, there's a good chance we were going to see a correction to the downside. Vice versa, we needed to wick up higher and to close that wick above here for us to continue to head up in a, pretty much a bullish support level. Ultimately, we actually closed just on that price, that uptrend right there, and today's candle is doing the exact same thing. So it's very interesting to see that we're actually getting sandwiched in between here. It'll be very interesting to see whether or not we're going to continue to trade in this pattern, or are we going to, correct lower. Mainly, the main consolidation and the main key point is basically looking at Bitcoin and trying to figure out the patterns that are happening within Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as we know it, has pretty much just been consolidating up. We know that there seems to be some sort of inverse pattern forming right now. When the price of Bitcoin heads up higher from the 12.8 that we were at all the way up to the 13.8 we're currently at right now, you'll notice it started back in October and is pretty much ending closer to the beginning of November. You can see it's had an exact inverse pattern that's been happening since October all the way down to November. It's been a downtrend on XRP, but an uptrend on Bitcoin. So basically what we're waiting for is to see whether or not Bitcoin's going to pump higher or correct lower. We do know that based on trends that we are fairly overextended on the MACD, as well as we are currently overbought on the relative strength indicators. These are all great reasons why we should be seeing a correction to the downside. It's mainly just a waiting game at this point to see which direction this coin wants to move. And I know everybody's pretty much in a full-blown panic as the elections are arising. So mainly, moving towards, the future outlook and what we should be doing to invest. Obviously, it is pretty much preparing yourselves for these movements. I did link BitYard in the description down below if you guys are interested in using BitYard as your trading platform. It is what I recommend because regardless of the direction we move, we can obviously buy long or sell short. Very similar to other exchanges I've promoted, but I do believe this one is probably the best, mainly because of the amount of options that we are allowed. The fact that we have all these different altcoins to trade around with. We even have all of these over here. Basically allows us to trade a ton of different things. Not only that, but they have derivative trades, which allows you to trade on gold, the S&P 100, NASDAQ, things like that. So I definitely recommend this to check out. Definitely make sure to look at the link in the description down below. They also offer a demo account, which is pretty cool too. So if you guys weren't necessarily ready to dive into the market, demo account allows you to pretty much trade around, test your skills. It allows you up to $100,000, which you can easily try your trades and learn exactly whether or not you've been making profitable trades or making some negative trades, and whether or not you guys should be investing into it or just testing your skills, making sure you're ready to actually start trading around with real money. So it's definitely cool. Just check it out. Trade 5 times, see if you're actually up money at the end of it or down money at the end of it. Otherwise, guys, moving on to pretty much the rest of today's video is mainly just looking at the overall markets here. The fact is, XRP did see that correction that we needed. We were waiting for that correction to the downside. I'm just on the 4-hour right now. You can see the second we hit this top resistance here, we sold short and we corrected on the drop to the downside here. Then we, completed our trade. We made about $400. Now we're pretty much just consolidating off of that. So it's mainly just a waiting game. At this moment, it's just a waiting game. You can clearly see the beautiful uptrend here, the beautiful symmetrical triangle here. We're now seeing whether or not we're going to pop and blow to the upside if we break the resistance, or are we going to correct to the downside if we go through support. So it's a waiting game. I'm definitely curious to see what exactly happens. Same thing goes with Ethereum and the other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum's pretty much trading on this uptrend here in an ascending triangle. Things would say it's going to break bullish. Bitcoin shows potential reversal as things are becoming overbought. So we're definitely hit or miss right now. I'm sorry if this wasn't terribly informative because the markets are pretty much crazy. And most of my, focus right now is on the S&P 500, as most people would be. Are we going to be trading, bullish? Are we going to be correcting lower as the elections happen? As we know, what's great is the S&P 500 is actually slightly up, probably about 3 or 4%, because we were testing this neckline right here. Some of you guys were saying that there was a cup and handle forming, which if I zoomed in, you could kind of see it right here. And then this was the handle, but unfortunately we corrected lower, we broke bearish, and we actually fell all the way down here. The interesting thing is now there's a clear neckline. I mean, I can draw a small horizontal line for reference just like this, so you can see where the bottom supports are, where the top resistance is, and basically how we're trading. This is the neckline. We did not break through here, so we're actually bumping off of here. So there is a fair chance we could start to swing back up and retest resistance up here again. Definitely possibility, but mainly we're just going to have to wait and see how the market reacts. Otherwise, guys, if you're new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notification, leave a giant thumbs up. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, CryptoTheOfficial, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.